Hi, my name's Byron Martin here at Logis Greenhouses, and today we're going to be talking a little bit about some of the greenhouses that we have here at Logis. Many of our structures are quite old. The one we're in right now is our big greenhouse, known as the Big House, and it was built in 1941. It was a salvage that came out of the '38 hurricane that blew down a lot of greenhouses in New England. This came off the shore of southern Connecticut. And this house here, we actually grow quite cold. Its temperatures in the wintertime go down into the 40s, and this is really a cold greenhouse in that they go down into the 40s every night, and if the sun doesn't come out and warm it up, which often doesn't happen in December and January, this house really is a refrigerator. And everything in here goes into a state of dormancy during December and January. This is a Justicia carnea. This plant actually can be grown warm or cold, but it tolerates the cold temperatures of this greenhouse. And above us here we have an acacia tree with a platycerum mounted on it. That's the way they actually grow in the tropical jungles, sticks on the side of the tree. That's Platycerium willinkii. And this actually tree was planted here probably in the 1950s as a source of cut flowers. You can see the buds here forming on it, where when we were in the floral business, the flowers were harvested and used in Valentine bouquets. The plant itself is pretty much, the trunk is pretty much gone on it, but it's really being almost supported by the greenhouse. And you can see the density down here going down this walk. So many of these plants, some of them were just dropped on the ground many years ago and rooted into the ground. Others were planted here for purposes of harvesting cuttings for stock or for used in the, as I mentioned, in the acacia for cut flowers. And they've remained here today. Some things we move in and out seasonally. This is Brunsfelsia passiflora, grandiflora. And this plant actually tolerates long periods of cold of winter quite well. Usually goes into a bit of a slow growth or actually stops growing, and then in the springtime flushes out with flowers. We have our Brugmansia, which is, this is our double-flowered candida, or we call it species, but it's actually Brugmansia candida in a double form of that. And things like alocasias, this particular Xanthosoma, we move out of here. Some of these things we bring in, but the cold in the wintertime is a little bit too much for it, although it would probably survive. It goes into quite a bit of a dormancy. And then we have our famous orange tree or citrus tree right here. This was planted in, well, there was a freeze in the greenhouse in 1963, and this was a replant of that. It was a California navel. And then some years later, as it was a young tree, we grafted many different varieties on this. We have about 10 varieties of citrus on this particular tree. Tangerines, blood oranges, grapefruits, kumquats, and a few others that have been grafted onto the tree. And we use this as a source of cutting material and sign wood for our production, but it also yields a tremendous amount of fruit for us in the wintertime. So here we have a couple of fruiting trees. This one right here is our persimmon tree. Now, this is the khaki persimmon, or Fuyu persimmon, which is really hardy probably to zone 8, but not hardy enough here. And years ago when this house was first built, the family actually bought a few tropical plants in. Produces abundance of fruit for us. This is the non-astringent variety of persimmon, which you actually can eat when it's hard without it puckering your mouth up. But we actually do use this as a source of sign wood for our grafting. And then we also have our kumquat tree. This is probably one of the oldest plants in our greenhouses. It was given to my uncle during the 1930s by an elderly woman in East Hartford that he was selling flowers to at the time. And she was in her 80s and had a small conservatory and wanted someone to have this tree, which had followed her through most of her life. And so they brought it back and they set it on the ground, and then nobody moved it. And there was a pot around this. You can see the graft here. The plant rooted into the ground. And I can remember when I was young, the pot was still there, but that eventually broke away. And then we built a box around it, and that kind of broke away, and then we just left it here, and you can see the beautiful root structure of this plant as it comes out of the ground. And it's been here happily growing since the 1930s. We've done a little bit of top grafting on this, putting a few different varieties of kumquats on it. This was a Nagami kumquat, but we have Miwa and Changshu kumquat on it, as well as some of the Citra fortunellas also were put onto it. So in the big house, we also have plants that we sell to the public. This is a collection of our scented geraniums. These are our 2.5-inch pots. And this is a bright side of the greenhouse, and not a lot of canopy overhead, so the geraniums do quite well here. We also have flowering maples. These are our collection of abutilons. And other odds and ends, there's some acacia plants that we grow here at Logie's. This is retinodes. And we also grow in this house our cactus and succulents. Most of those can tolerate the cold temperatures, and as long as we grow them dry, they do fine in a greenhouse like this. This is the night blooming cereus, which really, many of these epiphyllum type plants actually need that cold temperature, dry and cold, in order to stimulate flower production. So thank you for watching today. There's a little bit of information on one of our greenhouses known as the Big House.